That's why the Army, the Marine Corps, around the whole world, it's like 4 or 5 people in a fire team. That's what the base unit is.
Wow.
In the corporate world, you can handle a little bit more than that because there's no explosions happening, there's no gunfire.
Yeah.
So you can control 8 people, 10 people, something like that. That's kind of what the normal corporate structure breaks out as. But the bigger you get, the more you have to rely on those subordinate leaders to spread the word, to understand what the mission is, to understand what the end state is, to understand why they're doing what they're doing. That's what you have to do as a leader. And when you do that, there was plenty of missions that I went on where I was the ground force commander in charge of 30 or 40 SEALs or 100 SEALs and Iraqi soldiers combined together. Plenty of operations like that. You know how many people I talked to? I would talk to 3.
Right.
I would talk to the 2 platoon commanders and the mobility commander.
Yeah.
And everybody, and then they would talk to their 2 or 3 people, and then their people would talk to their 2 or 3 people.
So how do you get that message across to hundreds or thousands if that's in your organization?
There's a bunch of different ways. So in a big organization, this is something that we come across. I mean, we work with companies. I think the biggest company we worked with is 167,000 employees. 167,000 employees global, right? So they're all over the place. So how do you get the message? Well, there's a bunch of things that you have to do. Number one, you have to make sure that your message is simple, clear, and concise, right? You gotta communicate in a way that even that frontline trooper can understand what you're talking about. Now you have to translate that up and down the chain of command, because if you're my chief operating officer, obviously the level of detail that I go into with you and the chief financial officer, that's going to be higher. You guys need to, we need to be in a deeper level of conversation and understanding. But I need to make sure that you know how to translate that down to your next level. And then that person knows how to translate it down to their next level and all the way through the chain of command. There's companies where I'll go into the CEO and we'll be talking, I'll say, so how well does everyone understand what your mission is here? And he'll say, oh, absolutely. I'll go to a frontline person and say, what's the mission of this company?
No clue.
They have no idea. They have no idea.
So,
and this can be a real problem. This
Yeah,
can be a real,
huge.
I mean, obviously this can be a real problem, but it becomes a real problem when if you're a frontline troop and you don't understand what the mission is, you can make bad decisions on the front line. So there are certain companies at certain stages where the most important thing they can do is be cost effective, save money, right? And that's, if a frontline troop needs to make a decision about, hey, should I redo this thing right now, which is going to cost us a little bit more money, or should I just let it go with a little bit lower standard? Well, if what you're focused on is saving money, that guy says, okay, you know what, I'm going to let this go even though the standard is a little bit lower. That's a decision that can get made. But what if your focus right now, maybe you got some bad reviews from consumers, and so your focus is to make quality perfect, even if you have to expend a little bit more money. If the frontline troop knows that, he goes, wait a second, this isn't quite where we want it, so he redoes it, it costs a little bit more money, but we're now achieving the mission at that time. And guess what? As you can probably figure out, the mission changes because we will work with a company where, what are they trying to do right now? They're trying to maximize profits for this quarter because they're going public and they need 4 quarters in a row or 6 quarters in a row where they see that increasing. So, okay, guess what kind of decisions they're making? Now, can you go too far with that? Absolutely. Yeah. And now you get the frontline troop that goes, hey, I don't care. I'll put out as many as I possibly can. It's going to be dirt cheap and I save the company a bunch of money. But now we end up with bad quality out there and we will get a bad reputation and that'll hurt us strategically.
Right.
So how do you get that message out there? You have to, number one, make sure it's simple, and then you communicate it.
What's a simple message for like I guess it depends on the company, but.
It depends on the company.
Yeah.
It
But
depends
should a
on the
simple
company.
message be like one sentence, you mean? Or should it be simple to understand?
Simple to understand.
Yeah.
The more, and what we'll do with companies is we'll do a drill, we'll work on their mission, it's kind of their mission statement, but then also their mantra, or maybe a couple mantras where, in this case, hey, it's quality over quantity.
Right.
And now a frontline person's making decisions
Understands
based on that,
mantra, yeah.
right? And so there's a couple mantras, 2, 3 mantras that the people can refer back to that helps them guide their decision-making process. And then on top of that, they have like a little bit more detailed mission statement where they can say, wait a second, I know the mantra says this, but it also says we're supposed to take care of our customers.
Yeah.
And if I let this go, then my customers won't be taken care of. I need to adjust a little bit.
Right. What would you say is your mission and the mantras you use for your business brand?
So I have a bunch of different businesses. For Echelon Front, our consulting business, our mission is to be the premier organization for leadership consultancy in the world. That's what we're trying to do. And we're doing great at it. You know, we're doing great at it. How do we do that? What are the mantras? Well, number one, like we just said, what do we want to do? We want to make our clients and customers happy. How do we do that? We provide them great service, and we actually improve their game.
Yeah.
We actually can look at their metrics and say, hey, look, we're glad you brought us on board. Here's what we said we were going to do, and here's how it works. So that's, and one of the other things that we say is, look, we don't want to be a permanent crutch that people have to rely on. So a lot of consultancies, they want to go in and hook into a company for an extended period of time, and we don't want to do that. We want to work with you for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, depending on the size of the company.
And let you go, yeah.
We do have some companies that are growing rapidly, and so what we do is as they acquire new companies or as they bring in lots of new people, we're there to help train them and kind of onboard them. So that has turned into some longer term contracts, but that's one of the mantras is we don't want to be embedded with you forever. If we're with you for too long, we failed.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are the kind of things we do.
And what about your personal mission with the content you do and all the books? Is there a mission there that you have as well?
I'm trying to take the lessons that I was lucky enough to learn and get them to as many people as I can so they don't have to suffer through the same mistakes that I made.
Yeah. What would you say is your biggest insecurity? Do you have any insecurities?
My biggest insecurity?
Because from the outside looking in, you feel like it seems like you have no fear. You're extremely successful in business. Everything you put out is really successful. You've been through 20 years of training and combat. You've seen the worst in the world. You've seen the best. And it doesn't seem like you have many insecurities. So I'm curious if you face any today after all the lessons you've gone through.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like anybody else, I don't want to fail at things.
Yeah.
And for me, like I said, if there's people out there that could use the lessons that I've learned and I haven't gotten it to them, to me, that's a failure.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that keeps me awake at night. The other thing from that perspective is, you know, you look at, you say, you know, you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot, and I've been through a decent amount. There's many people that have been through infinitely worse than me. But, you know, for what I'm insecure about, for what I worry about, is I worry about missing out on opportunities that I have because I got friends that will never get the chance to execute on opportunities because they didn't come home. And so for me to squander any moment, any second of my life, my life is a gift, your life is a gift. I know that for a fact. And for me to squander that is something that definitely haunts me. It haunts me every day, and I won't let it happen.
Yeah, because I'm assuming you got a lot of friends that didn't make it back, or people you were with, or trained, or
Yeah, all of the above.
So do you feel like you have this responsibility to make sure you take on every opportunity, or the opportunities that come to you, you've got to at least give them your best shot, even if you kind of quote unquote fail at it?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a what you just said. I mean, even you know, as you said it, it's an unrealistic statement. Hey, every opportunity that comes your way, I'm going to take on. No, that's not true. Every opportunity that I have, prioritize and execute, you know, which is one of the laws of combat.
Right.
It's like, hey, you're going to get opportunities, but I'm going to look at them, assess them, and move forward. But really, I'm talking about the real things that I'm trying to do, that I have the opportunity to do. I'm going to do them to the best of my ability.
Yeah. Is there anything you regret in your 20 years of being a SEAL?
I mean, you're always going to have regret.
Is there anything that you still hold on to that you haven't like processed and let go of, or been okay with, I guess, like the regrets that you dealt with?
You know, I don't spend a lot of time with regret.
That's good.
You know, because there's not much that you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's happened.
It's nothing, yeah.
So what the way I look at regret is, what did I learn from it? What did I learn from whatever thing I'm looking at that I know I could have done a better job, could have done different? Sure, There's a million things like that, but I don't sit there and think about them all day long. What I think is like, hey, here's the lessons that I learned from them. I won't make those mistakes again and move forward.